Hi there. This is a quick record of an attempt I made over the last couple of days about GenAI and cybersecurity as a topic in a challenge in Kaggle. The actual hackathon is actually over. However, it just looked to it very interesting. So I decided to give it a go. So I'm going to walk the talk here. So this is the challenge, which is organized by a university. I think it's an Australian university. And intent here is that there are four challenges where they interconnected challenges. The first challenge is effectively looking at a project called Voyager, which is a project that you will see shortly here. This is the Voyager project. But if I go back to Skywards AI is actually open source community dedicated to advancing the field of Gen AI. It's a group of students who started interestingly from Melbourne, and they want to provide free, real, open source AI solutions that enable anyone to democratize and run language models on consumer grade hardware. So there are a number of projects here. So if you look at the repositories, there are a number. One of the projects is called Voyager. This project is OpenAI-like API service of the Skywards AI ecosystem. So the challenge is about deploying it on AWS and then effectively testing that the API endpoints are working correctly. So that's what this is about. Well, because this competition is actually over, so I had to set the AWS setup, etc., on my own. So I cloned their repository. I created my EC2 instances, and I made sure that the scripts, etc., work, because when you first go in there, it doesn't always work. That's what the effort was, and I've tested that they actually work. So what does that mean? That means how did I go about it? I effectively, as previously, have been using my very favorite cursor ID now to do all the development work. And after doing so and having I've deployed it into an EC2 instance that you see here. That's my EC2 instance. It's publicly available, and there's a README page, which I will share with you shortly. Let me close here. So when I deployed that, and it's running at the moment, as you can see, it is running on this EC2 instance. You have got a set of GET and POST APIs here. Let's start from the very basics. I'm presuming this should work, so execute it. You can say that, well, it's the base page, so fine. Well, you can also test a few things from here, I guess. If you just, instead of docs, you go to stats, you can see all the work that is happening here on the Swagger API calls. I go back. Then the bits that I probably would like to quickly demonstrate to you is things like this. So this is an AI chat companion, right? It's got an endpoint chat completion. So here, for example, we are telling the AI agent that you're a helpful assistant, tell me more about yourself, right? And if I execute that on this, you will see that the request goes through that format. And then I'm getting a response back saying I'm a software engineer. That's what did I ask it? Tell me about you. So it's basically the chatbot is saying I work in a development team. So it's probably picking up information based on the question I'm asking it, right? So that's it's authorized bearer token. That's what I'm using here. And that's the model that it's using. So basically, I'm querying this model. Similarly, if I want to now do something with RAG completions, which is retrieval augmented generation, so saying, tell me something interesting on Massachusetts. So it will actually reference some database and give me that information. So that's the data set name that is meant to reference. Let it execute, and usually you'll get a response something like this, but I'll wait for the response to generate. Yeah, there it is. And it's generated a response saying, how is it different from the rest of US? So it's picked up, so I've come across following questions while studying. What is the state of Massachusetts? What is the capital? So it's picked some information from the data set. I mean, how accurate the data set is, that's not my concern at the moment, but it's just to demonstrate that we're getting a response back from the data set. Then I'll show you something interesting here is as well. Embeddings, for example. This is about loading a data set from a URL directly, effectively loading a data set in the database. So if I do test it, I should see that it has loaded that data set correctly. So whatever I had specified there, that's the data set. It has loaded it. Then there are other features like I can upload files, for example. So if I can select here, I can select an example to the JSON, and I execute it. I can basically get a response saying, there you go. Yeah, it's happened. 200 means it's successful. 111 length was the length of the file. It did that. And then I can also say, get the files. This is very simple, as you would see, but to get it to work, it is kind of interesting to refresh knowledge. The point I was trying to make here is that what this has involved is that this is a Node.js project, effectively with Express. That is the configuration of the Voyager project. But then to kind of set it all up, troubleshoot, and get the endpoints to work, which is the purpose of the first challenge, it's extremely useful to use Cursor, or I guess any other. Among the various copilots I've used, I think Cursor is really, really useful, intuitive and really powerful. That's a quick record of what has been achieved so far. I guess the task after this include trying to implement encryption decryptions. Once the AI system is deployed, which we have deployed, security becomes top priority. So participants will implement Python-based encryption and decryption to protect communications between systems and users. We'll look at the threat of man-in-the-middle attacks, securing data in transit. So we'll learn. So that's for the next week, I guess. And then progressively, if we can get further, it'll be fine-tuning the model for binary classification of web traffic. Because you have established security, the AI model will classify the web traffic, detecting anomalies that could indicate security risk. Focus on the training the model capable of identifying normal versus malicious traffic, and real-time monitoring and defense mechanism. So we'll do that. And then there's something bonus, which I haven't looked at yet. But that's a quick record. So thank you for listening. If you have any questions, feel free to connect with me on LinkedIn. So my handle is Mondui Chakravarti on LinkedIn. We can probably, I'm happy to collaborate with anyone else interested in this, in the next parts of the journey. So thank you. The whole exercise is about learning by doing. And I think what we can do today has been unthinkable 6 months ago. Now, I come from a development background. I was a developer originally, but my roles have involved managing large-scale programs, projects, transformation work. So you get removed from day-to-day. We all understand the high level, anyone with a technical background, the high-level concepts around languages, architectures, etc. But if you're not hands-on, you forget. But I think with AI, copilots, all the different assistants, it has been really great to reconnect with the ability to actually do something on your own. The whole point about product management is that if you have an idea, you would be able to bring it to life with yourself. Or if you have a curious mind and a little technical background, and then you can work with specialists to take it to production. But learning by doing, that's the philosophy. All right. Thank you for listening.